Alright guys, so today I'm going to install my L&W Fab Tie Rod ends onto my 2018 Polaris RZR. So a little bit different with the end setup than what's on them. On it now is they got Heim joints on the end, on the outers. So you'll need, they come with these little adapters to go down in the spindle. And obviously there's your inner. So they do not come with new boots. So you have to take your old ones off, which obviously that's the inside of it. I just kind of slid it off the end. I gotta clean this up before I put it on. It's held on to the rack with a zip tie from the factory, and I dropped it somewhere. Here it is. There's just like a spring style hose clamp on the other end. So I'm gonna get that one cleaned up and get ready to put these on. And the reason these aren't getting powder coated right this second, I'm just putting them on, is the wheels aren't getting powder coated right now. I don't have time to do them. I'll explain to you when I get over to the side-by-side why the wheels aren't getting done. Okay guys, so out here with the RZR, you see my bolts, they're pretty rusty. I do plan on replacing them whenever I do powder coat these rings. And the reason I'm not doing it right now is I got stuff to do with my wife's truck. I got stuff to do with my truck. Obviously I gotta get this thing, tie rod ends put on it. I gotta get it all cleaned up. I gotta get the winch back in it. I just don't got time to go through here, try to get all these bolts out, get the rings cleaned up, because I'm not sure if I can even get on all the bolts. It's not this side, it's the other side, because I'm afraid some of the heads are screwed up, because I got in a rut the one time and I chewed the rings up pretty good. So I'm afraid I might have screwed up some of the hex heads, and I'm afraid I'm going to be fighting with some of these, being that they're rusted and there's dirt and everything in them. So that's going to be a project for another day after I get this thing ready to go, because today's Monday. I have a week to get this thing on the trailer, a week to get my wife's truck on the trailer, and a week to have my truck ready to pull the trailer, because Tuesday's the day I have to have it ready to go after work. So that's the plan. And this thing's still trashed on the inside and outside. The winch is wrapped around the bumper and everything. So I'm gonna get the tie rods put on so it's mobile again. Then I gotta change a belt on it still, because it barely moves under its own power. That's what happens when you try to tow another buggy up a hill and you both spin out in the snow and you just dig and dig and dig. Alright guys, so I got the one tie rod here. I already took the inside end off. I took the jam nut off of it. I cleaned up this boot some because it had mud and everything on the inside. So I'm gonna do this. I'm trying to hold my phone. Find just pretty much slide it into the boot. And it should fall into a groove, which it did, which is right back by that joint. Now you can stick your jam nut back on. Now you will have to use a different clamp, because I do not believe I tried beforehand to see if I could get that clamp over that. I don't know what I did with the pliers. These are a little excessive, but we'll try them. Yeah, might be able to wiggle it over, but you're gonna probably need a different clamp to put on there, or if you want to use another zip tie like goes up here, I suggest using a bigger, fatter zip tie. But I did want to show you guys how this works. Essentially, this bottom piece here goes down in your spindle. You take this top nut off. Take that top nut off. You can slide this piece out. So you take that top piece out, stick it up in that heim, stick the air piece down through, put the nut back on. And pop that down in your spindle and tighten them both up. And there's your outside. Pretty simple. But I'm gonna find another clamp for my there and start installing this on the side by side. Alright guys, so this is my passenger side tie rod, and obviously it's not broke, which they're not hard to take off. You just obviously take the nut off the bottom. I think it's a 6mm Allen 18mm nut, and then this end I just grabbed it with a big pair of channel locks to spin it out. You have to take that zip tie off. So what you have to do is pretty much either try to hold this with wrenches, put it in a vise. You have to spin this end off, take this jam nut off. Then you take this clamp off and slide that boot off. Pretty simple. And then you can stick it on your other tie rod. I mean, this is a good end. I actually joked about I should just leave it on there till it breaks, but my luck, I wouldn't even make it out of the shed. But my vise is still broken, so I'm probably gonna fight it with wrenches unless I can get the vise to hold a little bit, or might actually put it in the press. Didn't think about that, but I'm gonna tear it apart and get the boot off, get it cleaned up, and get it put on the other one. Alright guys, so I did the same thing on my driver's side that I already put on the side that was broken. I have this little hose clamp kit. I think it came from Tractor Supply, but I have these skinny hose clamps, and they fit to hold these boots on down below. I didn't like crank it super tight that it rips into the boot or anything, but it'll hold the boot from sliding off. But that's what I did there. I still used the zip tie on the top because I didn't have a skinny enough one to hold that. And plus where it is, it's kind of hard to get into. Alright guys, so I do the install in two kind of parts. I usually put the inner on first because it's a little easier if you don't have the heavy whole tie rod on there. And then I'll stick the whole rest of the tie rod on in one piece. I usually try to get the steering wheel all center before I put the rest of the tie rod on. I get the other wheel squared up. Just kind of eyeball it. I mean, if you want to measure it now, you can try to measure off the frame if your frame is square. I squared that side up whenever I had the factory tie rod on still, so that side's pretty decent. So then I usually put this side on. Oh, don't forget to jam that. And then I'll spin it out evenly with the heim joint to where it falls in the hole. And then usually your alignment is pretty decent. I mean, I measure it when I'm done, tire to tire, to make sure it's square. Measure, try to find a good spot on the frame on both sides. Make sure tires measure the same. But I'm gonna get this spun on. Alright guys, so if I don't knock my phone down, what I was meaning is I pretty much hold on to this heim joint and I spin the bar out so it spins both sides out evenly until I can get it over the bolt. And wherever I put the insert at the top will slide down in there. Then I tighten these two nuts down. Then I'll make sure I got my wheels adjusted good. I'll tighten the jam nuts down. And then check my measurements again. Now, I will suggest before you drive it, I'll suggest before you drive this, well, you're not driving mine, but before you drive yours, to balance your front suspension, because I had mine jacked up. I mean, if you don't jack yours up, not a big deal. I had mine jacked up because it's a little easier to work on it. Oh, don't forget to put your boot back on too. But I had mine jacked up, so the suspension was up in the air. We gotta pretty much flatten the suspension back out, so the tires might move a little bit, and then you can check your measurements again, make sure it's all good. Alright guys, so there's passenger side. There's the driver's side. Both have, or the front and the back, tire to tire is 48 inches on this buggy. They probably differ from offset to offset on the wheels, because I have aftermarket wheels and stuff, different tires. Now that it's mobile, I can now wash the thing before I do anything else. Get this winch back into where it belongs, get the front end tore apart. I'm going to take it for a test drive now, see how it goes down the road and everything, see if it's pretty straight. I think I got to put air in the one tire, maybe check them all. I only run about 5 psi in them anyways, so I mean, if it's flat, it's a surprise, because I've ran them flat before and never even knew it. But see how it goes down the road.